The Game. Episode 4 was about talking about cops, how to handle cops. Because obviously the last, I would say like 2016, really it seemed like 2018 to 2020 to now, like it has been unfortunately popular in mainstream media to talk about Black Death.
Yeah, but that's because the
popularized. Let me say that.
It's the spike in shoot.
The videos.
Not even a spike in shootings, but just the same thing we've been talking about since since the beginning of this country, and now that there's empirical evidence against the fact, a lot of authority figures around the country have burned through their social credit irreparably, almost. Even with COVID, which you would think, the civilization and disruption of civil services and all that stuff, and what is it?
We'll teach people to shut up.
First responders, yada yada yada. You would think they would have earned some of that credit back, but in fact, it was the opposite. Because then more shootings happened, and it wasn't just black people then, it was white people. The Asian community came out and said some things about how they were getting pressed out by the cops for years, but they just kind of kept their head down.
On the low, yeah.
You know, the Spanish people, yada yada yada, more videos, more the police responses to shootings, you know.
The police responses to the situations. It's absolutely sickening to see somebody call the cops and say, this man trying to shoot me with a gun. And then this was a video, I think it might have been last year. But so the police show up and they come up the stairs. And then as soon as they see the dude about to pull out a gun, the police go back down the stairs. They don't grab the civilian, tell the civilian to get behind them. They don't tell the civilian to run. They don't even reach for their own weapon. What is going on that we have police officers that are so afraid of policing? If you are so afraid of somebody yelling at you and raising their voice that you feel the need to grab a gun, you shouldn't be protecting or serving shit.
Yep.
But your damn kids.
What else you got?
And kids pull out guns too. So no, I just want to, just finish touching on, rest in peace all the people who have died, unfortunately and tragically, from police brutality in 2022. Definitely check out that episode, season 1, episode 4 of The Game, and don't forget to have that conversation with your kids about how to act in public. Because if you don't teach them how to act in public, they friends and the radio is going to teach them. And I'm telling you that advice is trash. Episode 5 was about finance in the brown community. I don't think I have any financial news, but I have a few things to say about that. In 2022, definitely over COVID, and we talked about this, it seems like an uprise of self-knowledge, self-education, especially when it comes to finances and how to better your credit, how to get out of debt, how to deal with student loans. I feel like the past 3 years, we have used this time as an opportunity to really educate ourselves to the max. But then there are all those mofos that are going to jail for them PPP loans. So my question is, how many people in 2022 went to jail from PPP loans? That's not funny though. That's not funny. The first report pops up, Live 5 News. FBI, 11 arrested after probe uncovers $2.5 million in PPP fraud.
Oof.
Wow. So, listen. People get caught up. 2022 is not playing. Everybody who signed up for them loans, boy, I hope you signed up for that joint under somebody else's name or something, bruh. Alright. You shouldn't have been scamming the government for them PPP loans. The next episode 6 is, what are your kids watching? Yeah, listen. If you're not watching your kids, I don't know what to tell you. This is my first child. I'm so blessed to have my first child in 2022. She's 10 months. She's already walking.
She's a smiley
last
baby.
month. She's the smiley baby. And clearly she's not here right now, or else how the hell was we supposed to record this episode with the baby wilding in the background? You know, Happy New Year's. Watch your kids. And stop letting them watch TV all the gosh darn time. Now that I have a kid, I understand how easy it is to let your kid watch TV. Don't do it. Don't be lazy. Take care of your kids. Episode 7 was about 9/11. Rest in peace, everybody who, passed away from 9/11. I still think it's a conspiracy, Mobius.
Yep.
They blew them fucking buildings up. Don't play. Don't. Listen.
I have comments on something, so I'm going to wait.
That on 9/11 or what? Oh, you talking about what's on the screen? Oh, about the government. Okay. Well, then you might want to throw it in now. I was just going to say
Fox News came out and implicably, I'm probably using that word wrong. They just came out and was like, explicitly, there we go.
Explicitly.
They said they had a source within the CIA who was evidence that they killed JFK.
That the CIA killed JFK?
That the CIA killed JFK. And then every head of the organization since then, of course, is known because the files are sealed, and probably similarly to the president and how they leave a memo for each next president, that's probably at the top of the list of stuff to not leak. My question is, this is me giving the benefit of the doubt, hoping that there's still some level of trust in the world.
The Republic.
In the Republic.
Or the person who's supposed to protect the Republic, because we're the Republic.
Right. So, Snowden left, and he leaked a bunch of stuff about the war. And not really anything else. And of course, he probably wouldn't have access to anything but stuff about the war, because that was where he was. But,
Snowden worked for the government?
He was CIA.
Oh,
he was CIA, NSA, DOD, he bounced around a couple times. So
what Snowden released is not to be taken lightly.
Right. So the fact that there was nothing about 9/11 or JFK, of course, means that he wasn't nearly as high level enough to do anything.
Oh, to get access to that particular information.
Right.
Right.
But that's me being hopeful that maybe he did look. But I don't know. But the Fox specifically came out and was like, yep, we know a guy who said they did it.
We know a guy.
Yeah. So that's, of
I'm
course,
so tired.
Taken with a grain of salt. Media hysteria, blah, blah, blah. But, the world's looking real World War Z-ish right now.
Oh, shit. World War Z. It's looking real 1984 out here.
Yeah, both of them.
Okay.
Both of them. BOFFO.
Both of them. Both of them. Okay, so what I was going to say is, if you're too young to know about 9/11 and you believe that you can trust in our government and you believe that there's nothing wrong with our government, you need to watch some real sketchy documentaries about 9/11.
Conspiracy theories are... So the same way that science fiction is a precursor to science fact.
Nice way to explain
Conspiracy theory is a precursor to truth, essentially.
Like shit. Some of the details may be lies, but some of that shit is truth that you wish you never heard in your life.
Yep.
Next, episode 8 was about sterilization. I must say, when we get into the black stuff, the rabbit hole of this episode, I'm definitely going to touch on that. There's something going on. Oh, wait. Roe versus Wade is perfect for that. Yep. Our episode about sterilization was particularly about an incident that occurred and was the lady's uterus was removed, or her uterus was removed without her knowledge. Go check out that episode. They have been trying, and she was Spanish, and they were doing this to immigrants. That's what it was. They was doing that to immigrants. I think. And then shipping them back across the water. So it's not even that we're letting them stay. We're stopping their ability to reproduce in their own country.
Yep.
Sickening.
Something like that's happening with the Uyghurs in China. I probably said that wrong, but the Chinese Islamists and Jews or whoever.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
About that. So yeah, it's the same thing happening there. They're not safe either. It's all effed up.
It's fucked up.
But yeah, Roe v. Wade happened on June 4th, 2022. The Supreme Court overturned it.
Yeah.
And all the federal protections that it comes with it. And so there are some states that are like, yeah, you're safe here, you can do it here. And there's other states that were like, we will go out of our way to track you down
if you have an abortion.
Once you come back to this state, if you do it. And that's effed up. You know, the Fed ain't great, but stuff like this, I get them not wanting to get in between it. And they're finally just going, you know what, we've had enough with the lawsuits and the conversations. Each state figure it out. I get that. But if I live here and my state's going to arrest me for doing something like that, even if it's for a short time, like that's, that makes you feel kind of
That's a little bit much. Yeah. That's a little bit much. It's the same thing with the whole marijuana thing all these years.
Which is my point about the Second Amendment. Which protects your freedoms to do lots of stuff and things. Like the First Amendment. It protects, if the First Amendment fails, which in this case for women it did, they talked and talked and talked, and then the Supreme Court said, screw you, whatever. You guys do what you want. And then, okay, I'm not to be very clear, I'm not advocating for an armed assault against any government attack, or, whatever's. But you would think that
was the purpose.
You would think the logical next step for a bunch of very angry women would be to arm up and say, leave us alone, or you're going to have a problem. Under threat of arrest. Specifically under threat of arrest.
But here's the thing. I saw a video, TikTok or whatever, and it said, the dude was specifically explaining, the purpose of the Second Amendment was not for gun clubs.
No.
To not freely go to gun ranges.
Nope.
And definitely not to just go commit murder in the street.
Nope.
The purpose was, if the government start fucking up, they're not doing their job, and they are doing something criminal, we have the right to protect ourselves from the government. That's what it's about. Not having shootout with the cops. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
The cops is not the government.
They represent the government.
They're representatives in the worst capacity, because it's on a state level.
Yeah.
I feel like the real representatives of the government is the military, but they definitely, they have their placement. But anyway, the goal is to protect yourself from these situations. But of course, I can't bring a gun to the courthouse. So if the judge say, I'm gonna, the police officer is gonna lock you up because the state said that this is illegal. But the judge, you can't bring a gun to the courthouse and the judge be like, I'm going to give you life for having this abortion that we told you that you wasn't supposed to have in the first place, even though you went and got it in another state. Like, that shit, to me, is the ability to execute the Second Amendment is what is part of the issue. Misinformation and not understanding the point of our rights in the first place is the big issue. But the second big issue is, how do you really go about and enacting your rights in the first place? It's a difference between you came to my house and you tried to lock me up and then we had a shootout. It's like, I feel like when it comes to a situation like this, only rich people are going to have enough money for the lawyer to even bring this up to challenge it in the first place. But being brown, every time, even when we're right and we try to challenge the law, they just going to shoot us anyway. Yep. They going to shoot us to shut us up, and then what we going to do? Have friends and strangers in the street rallying over pictures of our dead body. That shit is sick.
Case in point, not that this has anything to do with black people specifically, but about the Second Amendment and its relationship in regards to the government as a whole. Mm-hmm. The Battle of Athens, 1946, Tennessee. Where a bunch of corrupt politicians and sheriffs and whoever, people in power in that particular town in Tennessee basically just kept stealing the election. I mean, there's more to it than that, but, that's basically what's happening.
The people said we wanted this, and they was like, who cares?
Right. And so a bunch of, fighting happened, arrests happened, yada, yada, yada. And then police beat the crap out of a bunch of veterans who essentially just came back from World War II. This is 1946, remind you. Deployments, all that stuff. They're coming home. They just fought. They want to come home. And then they took up arms to forcibly... They did an election in which of course the townspeople won the election, but then the person in power seized the box, the election ballot box, whatever. They seized it and tried to make it seem like it was invalidated or there was fraud or something, of course. And then a bunch of the veterans took up arms to then get that box back from it was either City Hall or the police station. But that's an excellent, that's not even 100 years ago. That's not even 90 years ago. That's World War II was like 75, 80 years old at this point. So that's
crazy.
A couple years after that, that's what it's for. When the government started doing shady stuff like that, that's on a local level. That was a town. That was a small town, but stuff like that is important to keep in context. That again, we just talked about the CIA and its possible involvement with JFK. We just talked about 9/11 and what may or may not have happened. There's evidence that the government knew about the attack on Pearl Harbor and did nothing to get involved in World War II. There's
upsetting.
The CIA mentioning that we should blow up American citizens so we could have a reason to go invade Cuba.
Bruh.
Which could be why they killed him, so they could invade.
Who released that?
That was a conversation.
WikiLeaks?
What? No.
Oh, I'm like, who the fuck leaked that, bruh?
Cuba, this
I can't.
Cold
No, I know. Yeah. I'm saying, I want to know who. I don't know how we got that information, but it's very sick and it's very upsetting. All right. Episode number 9 was about dirty motherfuckers. What it was really about was our COVID speculation, everything that Fauci was saying versus our personal belief system that had no hardcore evidence behind it. Just what do you call it? Life experience, right? So that was kind of a funny episode of dirty motherfuckers. Listen. If you are not brown and you go click on that episode, know that me and Mobius, we are not racist. We love all shades of people. Next. Episode 10 had 2 episodes. It was about the political debates and everything, Trump and all that. Episode 11, All Saints Day, which is about Halloween or All's Hallow Eve and the pagan celebrations. Episode 12 was, that's what we had, what was his name? Classic Man on there.
Was this year?
No, this is all season 1. Mobius stressing me out. We had Classic Man on there. Talking about what kids are doing, what they're interested into, and what's on their mind. So if you have children and you're listening to this, I recommend season 1, episode 12, called Classic Man. Episode 13, Hostile Turkey, was about turkeys and stuff. We put out some shorts this year about that episode, so go check that out. Episode 14, What's Going On in the World. It was really fucked up, just current events. That's what we've been going through the past couple years, definitely. Episode 16, Pagans Love December. Shout out to Decemberans. I'm a Decemberan. I just made that word up. Anyway, episode 17 was the New Year's finale. And also a 2-part episode, also called Rest in Peace 2020. So if you want to check out that wrap up for 2020 or whatever, go check that out. Season 2. We promptly started season 2 with the whole VR situation. That was lit for us. We had a little hiatus and we came back and right before Mother's Day. So then our second episode was Hi Mom. Hi Mom. Mobius said that 50 times. Call your mom. So thanks to all the moms in the world. And that makes me want to touch on a deep topic, and I'm gonna try not to stay on it too long because I got 50 clicks about that topic. This is a brown people podcast, and we really try to make sure that even though we're talking about gaming news, even though we're talking about current events, that we got to express the news and the things that's going on around us and how we see it from a brown point of view. Because I don't know how light-skinned people feel about these topics, bro. I don't know. And I don't even mean light-skinned. I mean fair-skinned people. Because at the end of the day, I honestly feel like we're affected differently by the topics. We can have the same conversation that white people have, and it just won't be the same conversation absolutely at all. Because our concerns and our fears is always going to be different.
The melanin challenged.
Okay, damn. You know Mobius ain't no good. The melanatedly challenged. The lack of melanin, that's why they're challenged, okay, for all those people who didn't get it. Anyway.
I'm secretly hoping my friends don't listen to this.
Yo, I stay secretly hoping that all the white people that I know do not listen to this and be
I love you guys, man.
Fuck this guy. I'm
not mean. I don't think any of this. These are hot takes.
I don't think any of this. Obviously, he thinks all of these things.
It's my sister, and we're vibing. All right?
Ooh, he gonna put it on me.
Yeah,
the chilling. Oreo gonna put it on me. Whatever. Season 2, episode 3. Ooh, we got very pro-black on this one. That was about Tulsa. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel like now is the time to get into the melanated issues. Like, I don't see, like, a better opportunity. Episode 4 was about the foundation of who you are. I think it's been lined up absolutely. You got any black news over there?
No,
that's what I'm about to get into. Wow, you see how the Oreo said that? No, not at all. I am black enough. I don't need black news. Okay, anyway.
I just got a bunch of news.
So into the rabbit hole, and then maybe we could dig ourselves out of it. I'm going to touch on something light before it gets real bad. Why is it 2022 and black people still can't go to the pool? What is going on? It's 2022. And then when I Googled it or some funny shit, I said black people still can't go to the pool without being harassed 2022. Google said I got 6,900,030. Like, I can't. So many results. The first thing that popped up is racism at American pools isn't new. This article was from 2018, the New York Times. Next New York Times article, swimming wasn't for us. What? The nation's first black-owned pool club aims to reach and teach hundreds of African-American kids to swim. Listen, I don't ever feel like swimming wasn't for us. I feel like anywhere that we want to be, that y'all tell us that we can't be, y'all make it so it's not for us. And that's a generational curse thing. Like, you go to the pool. I remember when I was young, this is the 90s. I go to the pool and they talking about this a membership only pool. Okay, so you just looked at my skin. I was already let into the pool, mind you. I was in the pool swimming. And they talk about something, what you doing at this pool? You're not supposed to be at this pool. Where your membership at? What? So clearly the person who let me in the pool wasn't concerned about that stuff. Mm-hmm. But the people at the pool immediately knew, because I was a black child, that I didn't belong. So anyway, I think it's really messed up that this is something that's still happening. On a deeper note to that,
we're gonna take it from them.
Huh?
I said we're gonna take it from them too.
Okay,
they think they can swim and be all fancy and stuff. We're gonna take it from them. There's a video of these two dudes. They're black guys. They're playing hacky sack, and they're like just slaying with basketball level proficiency.
Damn. Fucking hacky sack up for the.
And then it cuts to like a meme of a guy like. Some white guy, he's like, save some for us. That's all we had. That and beer pong.
That's all we had.
It was either that or it was either they were playing hacky sack or they were playing beer pong. But they were just killing it. And the dude was just like, save something for us.
Yo,
that's all we get.
And that's absolutely insane. Like, we can share these things together, but y'all make it seem like we really ruin stuff and we take stuff from y'all. And at the end of the day, if we're all humans and we're all Americans, why are we still not all inclusive? That's extremely concerning. So a few things. Shout out to that all black pool. I'm not able to get through the article fast enough to tell you what the name of it is, but shout out to them. You know, there's too many places that are still in America where they're trying to tell us that we don't belong. So anybody that stands up and say, what? Nah, we good. We have our own section over here. Because that's what it's feeling like we need to start to do to fight back. And I don't know if that's where Kanye West is getting at with all this. I bang with the Nazis. Like, at the end of the day, we have to create a place that's just for us. And that's the only thing I could say of any type of sense of what Hitler did. He was trying to create a place for whatever he wanted and he believed in. The problem with that is the way to go about that is not massacring millions or hundreds and thousands of people.
Millions.
You said billions?
Millions.
Oh yeah, millions of people. You know, that's not the way to go about it at all. On to the next black people problems, stuff and things. Oh no, that's a 2022ism. How many black women are gonna go missing on vacation in 2022? Like, between 2022 and 2021, it seems like we're not safe inside the United States, but it's when we leave the United States that shit just really starts getting out of control. Literally too many women have died and went missing this year and last year from going out of town.
Locally too.
Oh, you mean, yeah, people from locally going out of the country,
Mexico,
and then going missing and dying. Yeah, so, you know, the only story, I didn't look it up, but that's close to my heart because I know it's all over the news and it's because there's video footage of it, and if it seems like that's the only time people are going to know about it. But, you know, the thing where the young lady went out of town with her alleged friends, and she wasn't even young, I think she was like 29, 30 or something like that. She went out of town with her friends, they beat her up, then tried to say that she was drunk. But no, somebody made a video of y'all whooping her ass, or whoever whooped her ass. Like, there's proof now. So you really got to be careful, and we talk about that on so many episodes. You got to watch your surroundings. You got to be careful who you let in your circle. There's so many snakes out here in the grass. Even if you keep your grass low, my guy, it's still hard to keep snakes out your circle. Okay, there's a lot of people who are disguised as friends and they really don't bang with you and they really want the worst for you. You really gotta be careful. Just because you're black and I'm black don't mean we're down for each other. Just because that Spanish lady over there say she banged with black people don't mean that she really understand what it is to have that black plight. And let me get
especially if they're passable.
And that's a whole nother issue with colorism. It's not that we have an issue with light-skinned people. I feel like it's the way that passable people live their life. Even though they're still black, it is not the same in certain countries and in certain situations and certain communities. We're not being treated the same. So saying your black experience and my black experience is the same, it's not the same. You could be even darker than me and grow up in a place that's mostly black and have better experiences than me being caramel complexion and growing up a place that's mixed that might have white people too. It's not going to be the same. It's not. So we got to stop comparing our, like, the different life things that we go through to each other. We got to let this colorism go out the way, because at the end of the day, you're brown and I'm brown. We need to be on the same team. This whole situation is with the Dominicans and the Haitians. If you go to Haiti and you're African American, now I don't know if this is just hate from Americans traveling over to Dominican Republic all the time, because it's just so close at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's a skip, a hop, and a jump. And you're going to go vacation in a place where you're going to see people that look kind of like you too. That to me sounds definitely like the ideal vacation. I vacationed in the Bahamas and I loved it. To be there surrounded by brown people that are a little different, but they're still brown just like me. The release on the news about if you're black and you go there, you may get locked up and deported to Haiti. I think that's acknowledging a few things. In Dominican Republic, there are women saying that when they are born and they are not fair-skinned African Latina, they're being told when they're growing up that they need to marry a white man so they can lighten up the bloodline, so they can freshen up the bloodline, so they can anti-black the bloodline, not even anti-black, anti-African the bloodline. I really feel like that's the underlying issue here. And then also the Haitians, and what is sick to me is Dominican Republic and Haiti is on the same piece of land. The same piece of land. It's only one freaking island, but y'all cut it in half, Dominican Republic and Haiti. The level of hate, to me, is absolutely psychotic. I don't understand the level of hatred. You're going to remove me from one side of the country and drop me off on the other side of the country. You're not even deporting me to, well, not on the other side of the country, the other side of the island. You're not even, like, wholly deporting me to a whole nother fucking place. Like, that's the hatred that y'all got going on for your own skin and who you are. It definitely is deep rooted in your conquerors. Your French conquerors had so much disrespect for the brown skin. Your Espanola or your the Spaniard colonists, conquerors are absolute trash. And that's why you hate yourself. And you teach the lesson to your children to be less of who you are. I don't know what's up with this Afro-Latino movement, but what I'm starting to learn and understand is you still from Africa. I'm from Africa. You from Africa. But what? You're more white than I am? Is that what we're fighting for? We all African. But you know who wins the award? The whiter African. Bro, we really got to do some self-checkouts over here. We really do. Latino people, Dominican Republic people, y'all, listen, we all need to take a look in the mirror. The Trinidadians, everybody who living on the island with brown skin, you really need to address where you come from, and you need to be proud and not disgusted. And so I hear a lot of that is coming out, and it's happening in the news, and I'm very proud to say that I'm seeing these things happening. I'm seeing TikToks and YouTube shorts and little IG videos of Spanish, or I want to say Afro-Latino women standing out and saying, listen, you know, this is what I was told. And I don't think this is okay. And I'm not going to teach this to my child moving forward, because it's not right and it's not okay. Just some history. Go look up the one drop rule. It's not a game in the United States. It's not a game. And the fact that it exists is kind of disgusting. But at the end of the day, we should be using that, and we should be banding together. Under the one drop rule, we are all together and we are all one. That brings me to a brief discussion that me and Mobius had earlier. And I say brief because we really wanted to make sure that we discussed it like while we're recording. What is the definition of black people? Do you want to get into your version, or should I start with Wiki?
You can start.
So black is a racialized classification of people using a political and skin color based category for specific populations with a mid to dark brown complexion. Not all people considered black have dark skin. In certain countries, I don't want to get into any of that. So just on the surface, that's what it says. So I was reading an article when I was doing the research, and in it was stating, they put like black in quotation marks, but they were talking about the people of Dominican Republic have sub-Saharan ancestry. And sub-Saharan just mean geographically, like the continent, in the continent of Africa that lies south of the Sahara Desert. So it's basically like not North Africa. It's pretty much the only part that's like not sub-Saharan. So yeah, you're from the heart of Africa all the way down to the bottom of Africa. That's what sub-Saharan means. Most Dominicans are sub-Saharan. They're African. But why do Dominicans think that they're not black?
My theory is because, from what I understand, the same way that we used to be called Negroes, and then colored, or vice versa, and then black, and now African American specifically. I think it's specifically an American colloquialism.
Term. Yeah, colloquial. Yeah.
It's, to us, and this is where it kind of gets tricky. To us, as Americans, black, pretty much, I think, it's probably, I'm going to preface that with probably.
These are all opinions.
Right. It's any person of color with a heritage that can be traced back to Africa, which scientifically is pretty much everybody born ever, period. But to kind of give it some focus, anybody who is black is anybody from Africa. The Dominicans, the Haitians, us as Americans, all that. You could argue that it's only Americans. Anybody who's black is only an African-based descendant, but who lives in the United States. Some people might say that.
But unfortunately, like Wiki said, in America, it seemed like for non-brown people, it seems like all brown people. So that person can be Spanish, and of course, like we just said, we know that they're African. But they have not dealt with the fact that they are African.
Right.
So you may talk to this Spanish person, and you may call them black, and they'll be looking at you crazy as I don't know what.
They got the hair, they got certain features.
Exactly.
We know it,
because at the end of the day, not only have they not dealt with it, but they're in America like, what the like, don't clump me all, and then clump us all together. But then also, it seems like the Spanish countries, they have a lot of pride in their culture. Even if they lying by telling them that they not African. They have a lot of pride in their culture and representing. A Dominican person is going to come out and say, I'm from Dominican Republic. You say, are you Puerto Rican? No, I'm Dominican. Like, they're going to clarify you because they have a level of pride. They are proud of who they are and where they came from. I feel like just with the one drop rule, it's like non-brown people are just going to classify all of y'all as black. And I feel like black is such a passable statement in America because we are so disconnected from our DNA, from what we say in our community, from our roots. We're disconnected from our roots. If you say that I'm black, that's because you don't know what part of Africa you came from. But also what I discovered is there are a lot of alleged, and I say alleged because we were brought up to believe that we are African American only, and that is not at all what we are. There are a lot of African Americans out there who are actually Native American and African American.
Yep.
You know, we don't know, okay, I came from this country in Africa, or I was a part of this Native American tribe. And I feel like they have been trying to hide that information from us for an absolutely great reason. There will be an uprising. If every African American person in this country with Native American blood stood up for the Native Americans, them crackers will have a problem. And the crackers I'm talking about is the fucked up people in the government, not just all white people. Just like some white people try to say the N-word means ignorant. It doesn't mean a shade of color or skin. Yeah, okay, we're not going for that shit. We don't give a fuck about what you're talking about.
When I was at the protest, somebody of Native descent, of Native heritage, had brought that up. Like, okay, we're doing all this work for George Floyd and how he died and black people and stuff. When are we going to get our turn? When are the natives going to get their turn?
When are we going to stand up for them?
Right.
Which is all us.
Right. And so, and the guy who was talking about reparations, like actual actionable reparations and why we have to do it a specific way, which is to sue the companies who profited and not the U.S. government, even though that, it's like, take what you can get, right? Especially if it means that everybody gets a sizable... Not everybody's getting $1, no. Everybody's getting racks, bands, some life-changing money for what happened. It means you have to partner with the government, which is unequivocally evil, seemingly, and then go after the guys who made the money, the companies, Warner, or the oil companies, Time Warner, all those guys. You gotta go after all the people who built... We built the country, and then they took the credit for it, right? So you have to go after all of them to get the money, and then we can help the natives because they have had their land stolen through warfare. That's the only difference.
And the hard part is every time we say, this is what we don't understand, is every time we say they, it should really be we. For all Afro-Latinas, because I don't know what other way to say it. There are Spanish people who are African, and there's Spanish people that are European. Whoever you are, you really need to get to know who you are. But that really messes me up when you brought that up. You said it absolutely perfectly. I mean, that situation that you went through. I feel really disgusted with this whole Woman King movie thing. Okay, because I feel like
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it. I wanted to see it until I found out what the movie was about. So it's about the woman tribe that sold her rivals into slavery. And so there was a big conversation all over the world about why should we be paying any type of reparations because slavery was common in the entirety of the world. It wasn't until black people was enslaved in America that we started feeling like, oh, you owe us something, and this is absolutely ridiculous, picking and choosing with slavery. Because like slavery was an everyday regular thing.
Even with white people.
Say what you guys say, and then I'm gonna finish.
Even with white people, but
even with white people, and that's what they trying to say.
It's because a lot of those places have had their reconciliation, and we haven't. There's still parts of the government and corporations and stuff that deny it, even though there's people alive there. Maybe not anymore, but there was at one point people who were still alive within the last 20 years
that knew the truth,
who were there during slavery,
who knows the truth,
or not maybe not the level of slavery that was happening in the 1800s, but some form of Jim Crow laws type shit where you're basically a slave. Technically, slavery still exists now with the 14th Amendment, right? Indentured servitude, yada yada yada. If you go to jail, you are essentially a slave.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Slavery still exists.
Yeah, it's still happening. So okay, what I wanted to say about the Woman King thing was that that absolutely threw me off because they were trying to use the narrative of that movie to say that we don't owe anybody the reparation situation. And I think coming at it from the way Moby is saying, we brought this up on the show before, coming at it from the standpoint of, okay, I'm not suing the government saying, guess what, you allowed this to happen. Like, no, because that's one of the reasons why we had the war between the North and the South, but really saying, okay, we just want the people who profited off of it. Like, at the end of the day, like, this is just another... Let's treat it like it's really 2023, and let's have a class action suit. And if so many black people in the country, like what you just said, Bank of America gave you 50 cents. Your information was exposed, and it was more detrimental to you than 50 cent can cover, possibly. If somebody do try to steal your identity. And so it's absolutely not okay to overlook this situation and pretend like, well, or just kind of talk their way out of responsibility. That's what I felt like they were using this movie as an example to do all over the country. And I'm absolutely disgusted. I am proud of the woman who was a lead in the movie. She is... I'm sorry?
Viola Davis, I think.
Yes, Viola. Yes, loved her hair too. Starring Viola Davis, Sheila Atim, Thuso Mebedu, and Lashana Lynch. Sorry if I butchered y'all names. Very proud to see a brown movie with mostly brown people. That is wonderful, but why does the brown movies with mostly brown people gotta be so fucking depressing? It gotta be all about the worst things that ever happened in the world, in the country, of black people ever being around. That shit is absolutely sick, bro. And it's unnecessary. Like, where are our positive black narratives? Like, let's not get on the whole situation with the Little Mermaid. Oh my gosh, she brown. We gotta get her out here. Or the American hatred with the whole Whitney Houston movie.
I haven't seen it.
I know you ain't heard of that. I ain't see that shit either. The star of the Whitney Houston movie, of course, is black because Whitney Houston's black. But guess what? She from the UK. Well, why y'all couldn't give it to an African American? Like, bro, why can't we just let people be successful? America fucking sucks. Don't get mad at the movie. Don't get mad at the directors. Get mad at the country. We need to rally up. We need to create a new Black Panthers 2025, honey. Because even though it's about to be 2023, we need to put in a bunch of planning so we can have proper execution of the things that we're asking for. If you was making money off the backs of the Browns, you need to get that money up. I don't want the money. I want my daughter to have the money. The future needs to have the money. Put it into a fund where all black people, all black kids get to go to college now for free. Like, do something. I don't even need the $1. I don't even need the 50 cents from the class action. Put it into a fund for the African American future. The way y'all tore us down, Tulsa, our cities, and everything that we was building and everything that we had going on. Yeah, the way y'all destroyed all that. Yeah. Help us rebuild it back up again. Anybody who want 20 acres and a mule, listen, you want more than they willing to give. Because, what I forgot to say earlier, in relation to the whole swimming situation, a lot of the land that was given to slaves, whether it was written to them by their slave owner or it was a transfer of ownership because their slave owner died and then they automatically go to the slave, that land. A lot of us owned beaches, land right on the water, and it was absolutely taken by the government. This needs to be addressed on every single side and coast of the United States of America. But the townships are the only ones who are addressing these things. The townships. And that's only because they have African Americans in their community that don't even want them to be there, and that's forcing them to address these situations. That's the issue. Stop taking land. Stop enjoying your time on the land that was taken from slaves. Stop enjoying your time on the land that you continue to take from the Native Americans in this country. We have to all realize that if you're brown, I'm brown, and based on the one-drop rule, they don't care, and they want all of us out. Not some of us, not a little bit of us. If you're not an Uncle Tom ass Spanish person or Uncle Tom ass Asian person, guess what? You a brownie and they want your ass out. Okay. The next episode we talked about season 2, episode 6, The Fine Print. It was about paying attention, reading all your contracts, and lightly touching on the new version of slavery through the television. Being enslaved, not paying attention, listening and believing whatever they say, watching the commercial and ignoring all that fast ass talking and them little ass words at the bottom of the screen talking about something. It might cause itchiness, scratching, fever, death, and motherfucking death. Anything you want to say about that?
Nope.
Season 2, episode 7, Watch the Police. I think that was big on the whole video cameras thing and being ready when you get pulled over. Have your camera out. Have cameras inside of your car. Like, be ready to know what to do in the situation, but also be ready to record it, because everybody don't know what to do when it's time to do something. But the more that we record things and put it out in the social media, the more that we could get some type of support and obviously belief in what we say is going on and happening to us. Season 2, episode 8, Six Sad World. That was a GTA stream. I think that was our first, that was our first video game stream. That's when we started. We didn't even start for season 3. We started it halfway through, or near the end of season 2, because Mobius was sick and tired of that VR joint. And that was a prime example of what Zuckerberg could have purchased. That joint is called IMVU. Yep. So if you're into the augmented reality, you got you a VR headset, check out IMVU, and have some fun on there. Let me see. We did 2 episodes streaming on GTA Universe on Mobius Boat. The 3rd episode we did in the casino in GTA. It was October current events. Episode 9. So Mobius kind of already touched on this. Episode 9 was the First Amendment. But is that the one? I think that's the one where we talked about the First Amendment, but then we end up running through all the amendments.
Something like that.
I don't know if it was the same episode or a different episode, but we did get into the First Amendment and how important it is. Just like we was just talking about the Second Amendment, I think it's really the understanding of the purpose of the amendments that is really going to help us level up into the future. I was told one of the best law dictionaries to get is called Black's Law Dictionary. No, it was not written by a black man. I expected that to be the case. But the white man who wrote it, his last name was Black. So we got the Black's Law Dictionary. Go ahead and check that out. Because it's real easy to Google things and try to have an understanding of what it means, but it's all very confusing, and it's confusing for a reason. Once we learn their language, credit. Once we learn their language, loans. Once we learn their language, equity. Once we learn their language, your signature is freaking vital. Then they're gonna have to switch it up again.
Yep.
And so you gotta have a good dictionary by your side. I know we use Wiki a lot when we talk about stuff, but listen, I've said this a couple times, and somebody even else said it. Wiki is super hackable, and people can put in whatever the hell they want, and it don't gotta be the truth. And Wiki is also a place where it's free, there's freedom to gather the information. So you can submit some information to Wiki today, and it'll take time for somebody to fact check it and delete it if the information is wrong. So keep that in mind. Everything that you read on the internet, and even everything we tell you, may not absolutely be concrete, because the truth always seems to change, as if it is relative and subjective and all these other bad excuses for lies and deception. Season 3 started with the whole Happy New Year episode. Season 3. Season 3 episode 2 was pretty much a recap of everything that was going on with me and Mobius in 2022. Coming in, after I had my baby and everything. Just getting back in the swing of things and doing a podcast. Season 3 episode 4, What Happened to the Unknown Unknowns? Pretty much the same thing, just recapping everything. It looked like we did season 3 episode 3. That was Halo. We also did another Halo stream, which ended up getting deleted or lost. Season 3 episode 4 was Killing Floor. That's a game that Mobius bought for me. Absolutely love that game. I'm still playing that game, and Killing Floor 2. I absolutely love that game. They update the game every season. It's absolutely popping. I start uploading Unknown Unknowns podcast backstages. So basically this season I have been streaming on Twitch. I'm trying to get Mobius on there. Hopefully this episode will be accompanied by a stream with me and Mobius actually playing the game together on Twitch.
Which game?
I would love that. Any game. We gotta find one. I feel like we always get murdered and get our ass beat. I'm not trying to get embarrassed on GTA 5, Mobius, so that's not the ideal stream for me. But yeah, hopefully we'll find something and we'll get that streamed. And that's something I definitely want to get into more. I'm doing a lot of the backstages by myself, but I definitely want Mobius on there, and I have posted this on Instagram. Listen, our very few subscribers that watch and listen to us, I don't know, once a year. If you have a line of work and you want to talk about it, reach out to me on the Instagram. It's unknown, period, unknowns. Instead of a O, it's a 0. And instead of a S on the second unknowns, it's a 5. Get with us on the IG. Let us know, like, what your interest is, what you want to hear about. But also, if you want to be on the backstage, I think that's a great opportunity to have some informal guests on the show. And so, listen, follow me on Twitch. You know, shoot me a message. Like, do something. Reach out to us. Interact with us. I think season 4, we're going to have a lot more guests than season 1, because season 2 we ain't have season 3 we ain't had no guests. So what you got to say about that?
About guests or just stuff and things?
I guess like just season 3 and how it went.
Season 2 and 3 were, each season's different.
It was tough
production wise and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys have been here. We started this in 2020, right?
Yep.
So it hasn't been getting better. It's been getting different. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, different. Yeah. I don't think we're getting worse. I don't think we're getting better.
Subtly, there are some things. Are you done with your rabbit hole? Are you coming back out?
Oh my goodness! I mean, yeah, I was kind of
want to take 5 and
coming out of. I mean, I was trying to come out of it because it was just getting really deep. But we got like more fun topics, like the slap. We ain't get into that yet.
Like the
okay. But yeah, go ahead back to your stuff.
Well, yeah, to give Shady a break. I'm back over here. All right, so real life shit. We got beginning of 2020. We got Russia invades the Ukraine, which has been happening since 2014 technically. But this was a full-scale invasion in which they put troops on the Ukrainian soil.
Man, I got something to say about the Ukrainian thing.
Who you?
So let me know when you finish with Ukraine.
You can go ahead.
So the only thing I wanted to say about Ukraine is, well, a lot of the shows I watch, reality shows, have people from Ukraine on there. I was looking into how could I help somebody from Ukraine. Obviously, that's already in the United States. Because I, don't know how I would communicate with somebody outside the country. Obviously, I have a level of trust, and I'm not rich to be like trying to donate money to a place where the money might not even get to an actual Ukrainian to make a difference. But I don't have money to offer to entertain anyway. So I was on Google and I found Airbnb. Apparently, Airbnb is allowing you to sign up to share your home or to host your home to a Ukrainian person that is in need. So check that out. Okay, Airbnb.org hosts offer emergency stays to people in times of crisis. So keep that in mind. If you are Ukrainian and you're in the United States and you really down bad and you don't have nowhere to go and you don't know what to do, definitely keep that in mind. I don't know if I'm going to sign up because I look at it like this. It's real easy for Airbnb to say, we're helping keep people housed in emergency situations. But then it's really somebody like me who's going to let that person come stay with them for free. Like, yeah, shout out to Airbnb for using their platform to help people. But it's not like you're paying for people to have a place to stay. So, anyway. So, yeah, just wanted to let y'all know that.
I learned something.
Oh, and the other thing, right before you finish, or right when you finish the Ukraine thing, let me know so I could touch on something else. The other one we talked about.
All right, so I was more or less done with that. That happened. The AN-225, the largest plane in the world, was destroyed on the ground while it was there at an airfield. Super sad.
Oh, in Ukraine?
Yeah, they built it. It's their plane.
And it was like, what, a badass plane?
It's the biggest plane in the world. And
the Russians destroyed it.
Yeah, it wasn't an attack plane or anything. It was just a big ass plane, and it was so cool.
Commercial plane?
Kind of.
For flights?
It had a
for whatever their purpose is.
Yeah, but it was heavy strategic lift. So yes, you could definitely use it in war, like just a bigger C-130 or a Globemaster. But
That's messed up. It was their accomplishment.
It was their accomplishment.
It's gone now.
And it's gone. So that sucks. I think there's some of it left, so they might be able to rebuild it, but
Lord, some of it. Whatever, they got the blueprint for the shit.
Yeah.
Next.
So go ahead. Ukraine.
So Armenia. Last year, probably during the wrap up, I was saying one of the YouTubers that I like, he's very funny. And I actually haven't seen a video until like a month ago in this entirety of 2022. That they're still out there doing the prank videos. Their clothing line is cocaine and caviar, I think. Yeah, shout out to that guy. He's Armenian. I didn't know that Armenia was still at war. That was my long-winded way of saying that. I thought the war ended last year. But it's very unfortunate that it is and I can't even say the other one. Armenia and Azerbaijan, they've been going back and forth since September. Oh, well, no, they're still fighting in September of 2022. And there's casualties on both sides. So, I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to get into it, but I want to send out thoughts and prayers to Armenia and anywhere in the whole entire world where they're still having issues with the war. Go ahead. Issues with the war. Any type of issues with war, period.